for him. Joining us on the Laker pregame show, the Laker guard, Byron Scott. Byron, I want to thank you for getting all dressed up for this show. It's hot out here in Los Angeles.
Without a doubt.
That's right. This is the casual. But, you know, I got to tell you this. With the tank top, you look like you're maybe 16 years old. This has always been a problem for you, right? You always look younger than your age.
That's true.
You got a card where every time you go to a club or something, they ask you for the card?
Well, most of the time I didn't really get cards because they knew who I was in college and in the pros, so they just kind of let me go in. But, you know, like you said, it's been a problem, especially with my wife, because she says she wants me to get a little older.
She's got all your cards, by the way, now.
You know, and
you were just telling
me. She wanted
me
to get some gray hairs and things like that, a beard or something. But
more mature.
Yeah, right. I can't help it. That's me.
One of the reasons Byron is here is to avenge what it is that Mychal Thompson, his teammate, said about him in the last couple of weeks. This is our equal time provision. Byron, I want you to take a look and listen to the monitor. What Byron said about the cultural differences, the vast cultural differences between you and him. Here's Mychal Thompson.
Byron grew up hanging out at the 7-Elevens, hanging out in parking lots, running with his gangs. And, you know, the places where I had to hang out at, Roy, was pretty tough because there was a lot of days in the Bahamas, we just couldn't figure out which yacht club to hang out at, or whose yacht to take out for a cruise.
Would you say he was armed and extremely dangerous as a kid?
He still is. Are you kidding me? Have you checked his pockets lately?
What about that? He says you remember the Crips or something like that, that you grew up around 7-Elevens in Inglewood.
Well, Mychal exaggerates a lot, and talking to a couple of members of his family, he outright lies a lot,
really?
To tell you the truth.
Mm-hmm.
I was in the Bahamas myself, and my wife, we were in the Bahamas, and I asked Mychal's brother about the shark stories that Mychal has been telling.
Wait a minute, what
myself.
kind of shark stories?
Oh, well, Mychal, you haven't heard this one?
No, I haven't heard this
one. Let me get comfortable and let me introduce you to what Mychal Thompson has told the team. Well, Mychal's a expert scuba diver.
Or so he says.
So he says he can dive 100 feet deep underwater with no scuba gear, which is unheard of for a human. And we know Mychal is human.
Right.
He's also said that he's been underwater in the Bahamas and ran into a great white, a couple of hammerheads,
all
sharks
at once?
of these sorts, at different times. But his last story was that he encountered being face-to-face with a great white. The great white charged him, and of course, Mychal Thompson, being Mychal Thompson, kicked him, and the shark left him alone.
Wow.
We asked Mychal how big was this shark. He said, oh, it was 2 of Kareem, which happens to be 14 feet, 4 inches long. So if you believe that I was in front of 7-Eleven, then you have to believe that Mychal Thompson just beat up Jaws or something.
I'm interested that you react to this one, too, because he was ranking on you about your swimming technique or lack of it. Take a look and listen to Mychal about Byron swimming in the Bahamas. Here it is.
When you start talking about Lakers and swimmers, I'm afraid Al Campanis was right. I'm telling you. I had Byron Scott down there last summer, and we were in 4 feet of water off this 40-foot yacht, and Byron would not come in the water. His wife jumped in the water, and Byron would not come in. And he threatened, he said if anybody came on the boat to threaten to throw him in there, he was going to break some necks on the way down.
You don't like the water, huh?
The water, I don't have anything against the water, but like I said again, Mychal exaggerates. The water was gorgeous. I have no qualms about that. I think it was about 10 feet deep, and that's drowning to me. You know, if you get in there, you can't swim. And,
what about that Al Campanis slide? That was a little strong.
That was a little strong. I think most of the Lakers can swim besides myself, and I think Magic, probably the only two that really can't swim. But Mychal, like I said, he exaggerates a little bit. He was right about the part where if anybody tried to throw me in there, I was going to have to do some damage.
Yeah. By the way, you and Coop last year were doing a number on him regarding his affinity for the soap operas. As the way you put it on our show, you said that Thompson is the whitest black man you've ever met in your life. What exactly did you mean by that, Mr. Scott?
Well, it's a lot of different ways I guess you could take that, but we like to call Mychal Oreo. It's like an Oreo cookie.
He hangs around and watches Days of Our Lives
Days
all
of Our Lives, All My Children. Any soap opera that comes on, Mychal's in front of it. And, you know, he always talks about his physique, having big muscles and things like that. And I think looking at...
Well, he does have a pretty good physique,
He has a pretty good physique, but looking at the soap operas, I think has softened his mind mentally and physically because he doesn't apply his physique on the court, you know. And that's all we really meant about it. He's not a physical player or anything like that, and very particular about his soaps.
Do you need a guy like him on the team? No, I obviously need a player of his caliber, but do you need a guy to needle you on throughout the season, you and Coop and maybe Magic, to get on your case a little bit, to have the yin and yang and the flow throughout the season?
I think so. I think it takes away a lot of the tension that's on any team, especially at this time of the season where you're looking forward to the playoffs. You
the
need
dog days.
Yeah, you need somebody that's got a bunch of lies to tell you, like a Mychal Thompson, to break the monotony of the team. And he tells us a bunch of them, and myself and Coop and Magic, we just kind of look at each other some days, and you just shake your head. You can't believe how many stories this guy can really tell.
We're going to come back with more from the Liars Club in just a few moments. We'll also talk about the season, the challenges ahead for the Lakers, with Byron Scott, our special guest of the Laker pregame show, right after this. With Byron Scott of the Los Angeles Lakers on the Laker pregame show, we're talking about more serious matters than just Mychal Thompson of late. You shoot better at home, much better than you do on the road. I think there's about a 10% drop-off on the road. And of course the critics would say, well, sure, he's great in front of the home crowd, the favored crowd. Why is that? Why is there such a differential for you?
Well, I think the fact that you're playing at home in an environment that you're very used to, you're playing in front of a background, the foreign background is something that I'm very familiar with.
The physical background.
Oh yeah, the color of the seats, the way the arena is.
Now people wouldn't understand that, but for a shooter, that's critical.
Yeah, it's very critical. In certain arenas, they're just totally different seating arrangements. Some of the baskets, you have a light coming straight through them, so and the form lighting in there is exceptional, and a lot of arenas are just totally different. Playing in the Silverdome with Detroit,
Larry Bird had problems.
Yeah, it's totally different because it's just a big arena, that's put in the middle of a football field, and you have to play basketball there. So it's just totally different, and especially in the Eastern Conference where we have to go back and play against a team just once a year, it makes it even a lot harder.
You've taken it to the hole a lot more this year. In the past, you were more as an outside shooter. This time, you're driving, and you've been open about the criticisms, your criticisms of your opponents, low bridging you, trying to upend you. Took a couple of bad spills already this year.
Yeah, that's true. That's something that doesn't have any place in basketball, and it's something that I've tried to pretty much stand my ground on how I feel about it. A lot of players in this league, they say when a guard takes it to the basket, I know coaches tell big guys when he takes it to the basket, you make sure that he doesn't get the ball up and you put him on his tail, and that's all good and dandy. If it's a nice hard foul, I can accept that. But when players coming up under you and trying to take your legs off under you and leaving you helpless in midair, that's real dangerous.
Lambeer, Mahorn have already been pretty much pointed out as some of the dirtier or more physical players in the game. You believe that too? Would you second that motion?
Well, I don't really think that they're really dirty players. I think they are physical. They're probably a little too physical at times, and at times they do want to leave certain players with messages when you go to the basket or when you try to set a pick on them or whatever. But I do think that they're probably two of the most physicalist players in this league.
We'll talk about you almost making the All-Star team. Not once, but twice. Now, two very close calls. Do you think it's because the general public around the country, outside of Los Angeles, still isn't sold, for whatever reason, on Byron Scott? They're not quite sure that you've reached the superstar status yet, even though, salary-wise, you're in that bracket.
Well, I think that has a lot to do with it. Last year when I didn't make it, I really didn't feel bad about it or even think about it because of the fact that first you have to earn recognition of the fans and you have to earn the respect of your opponents. And last year was really the first year that I think I really earned that respect. This year, because of injuries and the illness that I had, I think that took away from me, having a good opportunity to make the All-Star team. If I would have played the entire November, December, January healthy, I think I would have made it without a doubt.
I want to talk about the illness for a second. I think it was bleeding ulcer?
Yes.
It's pretty scary stuff. Were you scared?
I was terrified after I really found out what was going on. It kind of made me put everything back in perspective that, my health has to come first and I have to think about myself and think about my family in the long term. And, it was a very sticky and scary situation for myself and my family.
We're talking about the playoffs specifically. He and I both agree that Phoenix, if you get to Phoenix and you play them, it's going to be a tough basketball team, particularly because the Lakers didn't show anything close to a win in Phoenix all year.
That's true. You know, we beat them 3 times here, you know, but they beat us 3 times over there, and they beat us very soundly. So everybody has been talking about Utah, and you have to take your hats off to Utah. They are a great team, and with John Stockton, Karl Malone, and the big fella in the middle. But Phoenix, you know, I have to, you know, be a little bit worried about them. I think they can come out as the better team between the two, and we end up playing them for the Western Conference Finals.
Johnson makes the big difference, Kevin Johnson.
Kevin Johnson is scary.
Completely different.
He is a completely different player than he was a year ago. He has a world of confidence in himself. And, you know, I thought John Stockton was quick, but Kevin Johnson can shift it into another gear. He can shoot the ball extremely well. He's just one of those little point guards that has it all going for him right now.
Mm-hmm. Can you tell me honestly, speak to me honestly, you think this basketball team, the Lakers, are as good as they were at this point last year, for whatever reason?
At this point last year, I think we were much better than we are now. I think with these 10 games to go in the regular season, you know, we have to kind of kick it into gear and get it going. But we can be as good as we were last year, but it's going to take a little time, and I think we have to do it in the last games that we have remaining to get ourselves in mental and physical condition, as far as in our minds are concerned, that we can win it again.
Mm-hmm.
We might see Detroit again.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about Detroit. Jerry admitted that Isaiah was right recently on our show, when Jerry West, when he said, Isaiah said, that Detroit was the best team, certainly the best team since the All-Star break. You buy it right now?
Oh, definitely. Detroit's the best team in the league right now. You know, I have to say that because that's, you know, if you're being honest and you really, you know, you're looking at the standings and if you're looking at each team play, they won their last 8 out of 9. They had won 8 straight before Portland beat them. You know, they're playing extremely well, and you know, you got to take your hats off to them. Right now, they're the best team.
How much better are they with McGuire than they were with Dantley?
Well, I don't know if they're that much better with McGuire. He adds a little bit more as far as shooting is concerned. But Dantley was the type of player to get you to the free throw line. He would make you have to double team him because of the way he would take it to the basket. Mark, you can play a little bit more honest. You can play him one-on-one and make sure that he doesn't get the shot off from the outside, and that enables you to play everybody else on Detroit a little bit more honest.
Mm-hmm. It's been a good season, a very long season. Lakers with 50-plus wins at this point, the point we're taking. Before we go, I know I'm going to put you on the spot here, B, because every time we do this show, you say you're going to do it, and then you say you're not. Just give me 30 seconds of the world-famous Byron Scott Stevie Wonder pressure. I've already sold it. Now you got to do it. Just 30 seconds. You got the sunglasses down there. Ladies and gentlemen, here, Stevie Wonder as performed by Byron Scott. Come on.
It gets me in spots like
Come
this.
on.
No,
just sunshine of my life. Something like that.
Can I do Stevie? I don't know if I could do Stevie.
Just do talking, Stevie. You don't have to singing, Stevie. Just talking. Come on, you got the sunglasses.
Let me see if I can do it. Okay.
You see, you got to get him to do it. Here, this is a very, very special moment. He's even wiping off the sunglasses. Stevie.
Do I look like Stevie?
Yes, you do. Stevie, this is a great moment.
My eyes, man.
Stevie, this is a great moment. Thank you for joining us at the Laker pregame show.
Thank you, Roy. I really appreciate you having me up here, and just like to thank all the people out in Los Angeles for watching Stevie and come out to the next concert.
Thank you very much, Stevie.
At the Forum.
At the Forum, of course. The Great Western Forum.
Yes. Yes.
Thanks a lot. Thanks, B. You saw me, okay. Yeah. I appreciate you. Get worried there for a second. We'll come back with more of the Laker pregame show right after this. Showing you sides of Kareem you've probably never seen. The good times, the hard times, and all that jazz on and off the floor. That's this Saturday at 6 o'clock. And directly following that Kareem special, our regular pregame show at 7 o'clock. The Lakers taking the short ride to the sports arena to finish up their crosstown series with the Clippers. Right now, though, it is the Lakers and the Spurs from the Hemisphere Arena. I'm Roy Firestone. Enjoy the game. We'll see you Saturday at 6. Good night.